Continuation. I knew I said I was gonna keep it short, but apparently it's gonna be pretty long, which is almost every video I make. Basically, ego with a mix of logic and an inflated sense of delusion allowed me to conclude that UP, not for me. But De La Salle, for some reason, let's go. See the irony here? I argue that I can afford De La Salle. So I'll go De La Salle. So I can align, along with being able to go with my Don Bosco friends and De La Salle being one of the top ComSci or the top schools or universities to offer ComSci, and deal with that value of mine with the whole privileged Burgoy's thing. Basically, De La Salle just made sense to go to. Like, yes, that was like my main choice. So, of course, I try to antagonize and devalue the benefits UP will offer me, which will bring me to the next, which brings me to my next point. You know, since how is this any different from the Japan plans thing with the De La Salle? It's both pretty illogical. Like, why leave again? And it's going to be the same with UP, with the exception that it won't be as taxing in terms of funds, because of course UP was free. If we set aside that Burgess thing, okay, let's say my family needs financial help, because I'm pretty sure we did at some point, because okay, I don't want to go into any specifics, but at the time we were really down in the dumps in terms of financial stuff for some reason, okay? And what really didn't come into mind was the possibility of me not going to UPD but UPV Visayas or UPC Cebu, which is mind blown, right? Mind blown. Because if I can go USC, which is in Cebu, then it proves that I could have gone to UPC and survived. Of course, if we take away the Burgess thing, and that is that considered to be a scholarship? Yeah, but the benefits of UPC being free with top tier education, high quality education, the benefits of having UPC in your resume, even though that doesn't matter as much in my program, it will still be felt. It's still a huge help. So, of course, I feel guilty, and what feels even more guilty, it's the loop you feel guilty about being guilty, is that I didn't felt the immense weight of that guilt until the release of the results of UPCAT the following year. Okay? Fear of missing out, of not taking it, I can handle, because oh yeah, they're taking UPCAT, but I'm gonna be busy with DCAT, which I didn't even take. I know I'm still pissed at myself to some extent, but what's the point of being angry at this point? But the release of the results, man, when every social media platform I was on was flooded with hashtag UPCAT, passer, blessed, yeah, those type of shit. The FOMO was real, basically. And it just happens to be at the time of the release of UPCAT results, something very unfortunate happened in my relationship with my ex. Okay, I can now talk about it, right? I don't think anyone cares at this point aside from me. And I think the reason, I can only make assumptions, or I think I know, but my memory is pretty fuzzy now, is that she tried breaking up with me because college. Because we were going to be separated because of college. Because I made it clear to her that I was going DLSU, but that kind of failed, so I thought I'm just gonna stay here in Negros Occidental and work my ass off here in USLS, bootleg Lasal, and just be an academic weapon to compensate. Okay, because I have, it's pretty lax here. It actually felt like a retirement home, my situation there, which is going to be related to my video on potential. I don't know when I'll record that. Anyways, she was going to break up with me because college, responsibilities, separation, we weren't gonna have enough time for each other. It made sense. If I were to stay in Negros and she's going to be in Cebu, it's just not gonna work out. And it made sense. And I kinda lashed out in some way. And the following morning of that day, she tried breaking up with me. The UPCAT results released, and that morning, my heart just sank. I think I cried for like 2 hours, like from 4 to 6. And I'm not asking for pity. I'm actually like finding it pretty funny now. It's just something I can look back and smile to. But at the same, morning, everyone was posting about UPCAT. Everyone at school who took the UPCAT were like celebrating, and fear of missing out basically. And that very night, the results were released. I went to Twitter and did my usual Homer shit. Guess what? Like I mentioned in my last 2 videos, I just spammed thread after thread of how disappointed I was in myself, and how guilty I felt, and how bad I felt, and how much I regret it. And now that I have a legitimate regret in my life to regret about, and all that Homer stuff I do, that will affect someone who took UPCAT and passed, which happened to be my ex. And yeah, it just hurts me that because of my own shortcomings and regretting my shortcomings, when I full well know I could have taken it, and more importantly and more frustratingly, I could have passed it, I lashed out on Twitter and hurt somebody else because I knew she was following me. Because if I lashed out on my own in my room and just went for my usual monologues, I think that would have been justifiable. But I just had to go to Twitter and do the usual shit I do, and like, you get the point. I should have just congratulated her. That would have been the most sensible and mature thing to do. But then again, it's not just about not passing. And I'm actually gonna relate a bit of potential here. I could have passed it. I would have passed it. I knew I can. I know I can. And I still do. I can. I still know that I can. It's just that the fact that I was that lenient, the fact that I was that lax, the fact that I was that confident, that I was so deluded that I didn't need UP. Okay, need. Not for myself, but for my family, and in relation to my ex here, is in UP Cebu now. Even if you take that aside, it's unfulfilled potential. Okay, and it's something that I really, really value. Progress, potential, pushing forward and becoming the best version of yourself is something that I really think everybody should prioritize. And this blunder by me, as I would like to call it, is perhaps one of the greatest displays of hypocrisy of my hypocritical life. My ego took a huge hit, man. Like, it was just a pure reality check. That night, the morning I woke up, it was pretty bad. But that night, it was even worse. All the negative thoughts were coming in. And after so long, I started to hate myself again. Which hasn't, things were pretty going well that time. And I guess you could say that when that UPCAT thing was like, that was like the start of a domino effect towards, I wouldn't necessarily weird. It was like, yeah, that was a significant, that was a signifier, is that word? That was an indicator that things aren't going to be as great from that point. And it just frustrating that the guilt of wasting or unfulfilling my potential only came into realization, and I really just bear the weight of my poor decision making only when something personal was affected, which would be the relationship with my ex. Because of course I really want to be with that person. Okay, I won't get into that. Of course, if I had taken UP, obviously, if I had taken UPCAT, obviously, the things I would have put into the preferred campuses wasn't going to be UPD because of the aforementioned reasons. It was either going to be UPC or UPV. So if I had taken that in that very moment, if I just said, yeah, mama, I'll just give it a shot because why the fuck not? I wouldn't say that because I didn't swear back then, but still. Okay, swearing is bad, kids. You know, don't swear. If you're a child who happens to be watching this video. Anyways, the point is, I needed to redeem myself. Or at least I felt like I needed to redeem myself. And guess what? Look where I am now. And it's a mix of all the reasons here. It's a compromise. The Borghese thing was kind of dealt with the USC. Me going to USC because it still is paid. Because with the UPC thing, I really want to get into that Borghese thing. I can't say that. It feels so weird to say. It's not as bad as De La Salle. De La Salle is like, what, $250 million a sem, I think. That is gonna empty our pockets. We just have other things, family matters to deal with. And I think that would put a huge strain in my family situation. So I just thought that this would be a very fair compromise, and it just happens to be that USC is emphasis on happens to be one of the top universities for comp-sci in the country. Emphasis on happens to be. That is why I'm gonna make a future video on how I am so thankful for my ex for bringing me here and how this was all part of my magnificent plan. I think that video is unlisted. I'm not quite sure. It's like 1 a.m. and my brain cells aren't as functioning as I'd like them to. So I guess that's it. I wasted my potential. Not really wasted. I didn't even bother testing it out. Okay? So, future Homer, when you can do something about something, you just do it. You know, Minecraft said it as well. Just throw away Minecraft. Give me a sec, guys. Oh, Mark Twain. I found it now. I actually pinned this quote on my Twitter for like 2 months out of not spite but like out of frustration. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Fucking discover. Mark Twain. The fucking part wasn't there, okay? I just really like swearing now. He's right. You will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do. And I know that. I just didn't understand it until this happened. My ex passed UPCAT. She went to UPC. And I can go to UPC. Because I didn't take UPCAT. You know, simple logical there. Simple logical sequence of thoughts. So what would be the best thing to do now? Be desperate and try to get into some school in Cebu. Call it desperation, call it commitment, but to be honest, I'm just trying to redeem myself, if anything. Like I said, all the reasons aside, even put my relationship aside with, I want to achieve things in life, and my actions don't really reflect that at the time. Okay? Because if I really do claim to be a bringer of change and reforming society and starting revolutions, then I wouldn't have settled for whatever that shit was. Yeah, I'll be fine without UP. Like, oh, I'll just stay here in bootleg LaSalle and pure BS. Okay? This is just me ranting about my past self. I don't know if there will come a day where I look back into that decision of mine and not feel a single negative emotion. I doubt. But second biggest regret, not taking the upcut for so many various reasons, because it directly and indirectly influences many aspects of my personality, my beliefs, and to a more external degree, like family, finances, and her. It's like one of life's biggest middle fingers to me. It was just such a good punchline, I swear. And I deserve that punch. So I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. This is way longer than the last two, so it's more elaborate though. So thank you. Peace. Yeah.